on demand. We're here. Hello, dear friends. 21 days to spiritual awakening, and we're almost awake because today's day 16. What a joy. Day 16. Can you believe it? Yes. What a journey, huh? A journey with Brother Jacob. A journey with the illuminated minds who committed their hearts to Christ to bring Spiritism to the Americas. Not only to South America, but to the Americas. We have here a friend, Brother Jacob. His name in that life was Frederico Figner. And he was from the Czech Republic, moved to California, United States, and then to Brazil. Once he was there, since he became acquainted with the phonograph, and Thomas Edison, he brought it to Brazil and really rocked the music industry. He really actually started it all. He started the publishing of the songs, the recording industry, and not only that, he became a spiritist. And as a spiritist, he really devoted himself. No matter how busy he was in his daily life, his commitments in his marriage, with his children, with his profession, he found time, availability to give of the time he had at hand to help doing the rescue work, which we call this obsession in mediumistic meetings. He was the spirit counselor of entities who were deeply disturbed, and he helped them in many ways, being the instrument of relief, of new perspectives. One day, like all of us, we're called to go back to our spiritual home. He discarnated. In the previous chapters, 16 chapters we have already discussed. He talked about the whole process of discarnation, his funeral. He talks about the viewing, and afterwards, he's coming to an emergency colony that is so real, so elevated that seems like heaven, but it's not quite yet. But people are very devoted to one another, very kind, very generous, and then he meets not only his daughter, Martha, but his friends from the Spiritist connections. You know, he was truly, truly awake. But then he discovered there was another level of awakeness. What was it? He discovered that the truly awakened soul focuses on his or her spiritual needs. He said, I forgot my spiritual needs. And he discovered in the afterlife what they were. It's not about what people think of us, how great we're doing. It's about what we actually feel, think, say, and do. And he observes he's bothered by the fact that his friends, Guilherme Ribeiro, Leopoldo Cirne, Saião, and Caio Asciutto, they have their own light. And he's frustrated that he hasn't conquered his, so he's actually disappointed. He thought discarnation were easier because he knew a lot about the process of the afterlife, communication with spirits. He said, oh well, I'm awakened enough. He figured out he was still missing the boat. Okay, he missed the boat. Are we missing the boat, friends? Hopefully not. Hopefully we're not gonna justify ourselves and say, oh well, I have to do these things because God is counting on me to make justice on the earth. Actually, that's not quite what we are expected to achieve. It's about the inner and not the others or the outer. Today is a most special night for us, or day for you, because we're going to listen to the word, the speech, the conversation directly between Bittencourt Sampaio and the welcoming ceremony to Brother Jacob in the spiritual realm. They are in the temple of the spiritual colony and received by many friends, so beautiful. And then through the collective strength, the materialization from higher spheres of Bittencourt Sampaio. You may be asking, who is he? He is the person who was assigned by Ismael, who was assigned by Jesus to take care of the implementation of the gospel in the Americas. Ismael recruited Bittencourt Sampaio to bring Spiritism to another level on the earth. In Brazil, he was one of the people responsible, mainly, who took the lead of the understanding that we work together. Unity, natural, not forced, not preached, actually felt. The Brazilian Spiritist Federation. A man who was a lawyer, who was a politician, who was a poet. He really went above and beyond Bittencourt Sampaio. He elevated himself so much that now he comes to talk directly with Brother Jacob. Before I pass the word to Carol and Mark, because they're here with us, gonna help us, it's a teamwork effort. I wanna say hi to everybody, because once I pass the word, we will immerse ourselves in this beautiful ceremony. Okay, here we have it. Hello, Rihanna, how are you? I hope you and Nico are doing well. Fantastic. In South Africa is receiving books as we speak, because people are sending books, sending their donations. We're looking forward to the shipment to South Africa, friends. Thank you, Rihanna. Paula is here. The beautiful mother of Paula was with us today. There's nothing more powerful than the relationship and the bond between mother and daughter, mother and son. Cherish it, my friend Paula, because it's a blessing. Andrea Torres, my beautiful Andrea, thank you for being with us always. Katia, how are you? Leonor Pacheco, beautiful Leonor. Nico, how are you? Jailton, welcome. Adilson, how are you, Adilson? We are thankful to you, Rihanna, to your presence, and Sunshine. I'm glad you're here, Sunshine. We understand the busyness of life. This is summertime here for us, and it's busy. It's supposed to be busy. We're supposed to be busy bees, meaning it's time to go out and do stuff, and we're supposed to change our pace according to the seasons. It doesn't mean winter we're going to hibernate. No, we won't, because that's a little fattening. But we're going to work more on the inner. We're going to work in different settings. Of course, it all depends on where we're living, right? Rafael, welcome, Rafael. Our dear friend Leia Severo, big hug on our Leia. It's beautiful to be Leia. True. And everyone here, of course, right? Thank you, thank you. Anna from Alabama. Welcome, Anna. Welcome, welcome. And here we have Juliano. My friend Juliano, looking forward to seeing you soon. Lisa Teles, welcome. Fernanda Moreira, welcome. Thank you, Paula. And you know, I can't forget, while I share here, we can't forget, it's not about knowing, it's about doing the good. There are many ways of doing the good. Tonight at the Spirit Side of Virginia, we were reading a message from the Gospel according to Spiritism. One of the spirits asks, many people ask, how can they help others? And she says there are many ways. One of the ways is thinking about those who have less than we do. If you go today to the movie theater in the United States, you're going to spend more than sponsoring a child at Fraternity Without Borders. But there are many ways. And Carol Correa is our lady, the leading lady.
Hello, dear friends. We are back with Pills of Trust, just for you and all of us. Please consider taking a pill of trust each day to awaken yourself to the reality that you are an heir to all divine creation, all the universe, and as you awaken, you have the opportunity to practice loving one another as our Master has recommended and exemplified. So please follow your heart and take a pure trust while helping Fraternity Without Borders. Thank you very, very much.
All right, and Mark Smith is here with us, but he's here for an important mission. A mission of, you will see. I'm not going to tell you, okay? Not now, because you see with your eyes and you feel with your heart. We have here the opportunity of knowing more about this awakening process. It's not only about knowing, it's about feeling, as Jesus said, okay? Solange, welcome Solange, Amanda Andrade, Celina, our beautiful Celina, doing beautiful works at Cardiac Radio. Thank you, Celina, for, lending us the gift of your voice, okay? You ready? Okay. Remember, they are in the temple. Okay, they are in the temple, in the spiritual colony, and I'm opening here for you because I will show you two pictures that were drawn so you can feel more. But before I forgot, I think our dear friend Sunshine asked, what were his spiritual needs again, Charity? Okay, recapping here, Brother Jacob realized that as he said, he forgot his needs, which were not material, which were spiritual. What are your spiritual needs? It depends, right? There are people who clearly need to prioritize their anger management because they are addicted to the feeling of anger, okay? There are people who are addicted to gossiping. We can't forget the need to educate, the spiritual need that is behind this escape mechanism. Because when we gossip, when we enter addictions of all sorts, we're actually not facing our needs. We're just putting Band-Aid, but a Band-Aid that's making it worse. It's not allowing the wound to breathe. Band-Aid, okay? So I go there, drink alcohol. I don't want to remember. Well, it's still there and it's getting worse. So need to face it. What is it? And maybe in a beautiful way we're gonna find out that it's not all that bad. So that's pretty much what it is. Some of his spiritual needs were not truly charity, were the fact that he thought he was more than he was, which translates into lack of humility. In the afterlife, he's gonna face his perfect measurement, like the stature, spiritually speaking, his radiation, and he's going to be ashamed of it because he thought he was more illuminated than he was. Do I think I am more illuminated than I really am? Maybe. Yes. How do I know, Vanessa? It's kind of simple. but we need to be courageous. If I am constantly comparing me with others, thinking that I know more, my experience led me to greater insights, that because of the works I've done this far, people are more inexperienced than I am, etc., etc. Because I read 10 spiritist books and somebody read one, I think I know more. That's when I think I am more illuminated. There are many ways of characterizing, but these simple thoughts, okay, will tell us. Remember Paul and Stephen, when Peter very humbly helps Jezeel, who later is Stephen, and embraces him, and though he never met the Christ, physical person, Peter never doubted that Jezeel was meant to lead at that moment. Go, Jezeel, give a talk. Go, help with the healings, etc., etc. Peter learned to be humble. Jezeel was already humble. Paul learned to be humble, never doubting that the light shines for everyone and inside of everyone. And it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Okay? That's exactly what happens in the life of our dear friend. Okay? And here we have, they are in the spiritual realm, in a temple inside, and I'm gonna show it to you. So I read and tell. Okay, here it is. Oh, the temple. It's not heaven, it's a spiritual colony. Paulo, welcome. Welcome, Bailey Claire. Here we have, no matter how the spiritual messengers try to describe the greatness of the demonstrations of the eternal soul, to the ears of those who linger in the world, they will never find resources with which to express the reality. Submitted to healthy limitations, the incarnate spirit is unable to translate the celestial beauty. The sensibility educated in science or virtue perceives it as fleeting lightning, trying to imprison it in the word, in sound, or in color, all accessible to human appreciation. Yet, the devices of intelligence are not sufficient for the retention of divine clarity. Between ecstasy and wonder, I noticed, says Brother Jacob, that the star was slowly changing. From the radiant nebula, someone stood out. Someone stood out. Clear and recognizable to me. It was the magnanimous Bittencourt Sampaio, whose resplendent expression constituted what I imagine in an angelic being. He was surrounded by vast glowing halos. Surprised and ashamed, I tried to back down, but I could not. I tried to kneel, but Guilhom Ribeiro held me in his arms. Without conventional gestures, without any attitude that denoted affectation, Bittencourt Sampaio greeted the assembly and approached me, uttering phrases I did not deserve. Laying the right hand on my forehead, Bittencourt Sampaio, with nobility and sincerity, said, okay, hold on here. Hold on. Hello, Cesar. Hello, Jacob. This is not heaven. This is actually, Jacob, a spiritual colony of emergency works near the Earth's crust. okay? But a one of good people, good spirits, elevated ones. So now, let's observe this. Brother Jacob is in the ceremony of welcoming him to the spiritual realm. And though he had shortcomings, etc., remember, he is being received by this group of friends who are more elevated than him, and now Bittencourt Sampaio is going to talk to him. Let us listen to what he's gonna say, because it is very likely that we are knowing of this today, because he's talking to you and I now, okay? Mark Smith is going to kindly read it for us. He's going to read it slowly. He's going to pause to give us time to think, and then we're going to make comments, okay? It seems long, but it's not quite. If we need to interrupt, we're going to ask him. Thank you, Mark, for helping us.
So he says, Jacob, you did well announcing your own faults in this fraternal plenary. Infinite wisdom sets up courts to judge those who do not know this wisdom, because ignorance calls for lessons, sometimes cruel, from outer plans, but the children of sanctifying knowledge condemn or save themselves. The voluntarily deaf demand noisy phenomena in the field of atonement so that they can develop their sense of sorry, I'm trying to blank here. There's a word here that's off. Their sense of hearing. And the blind men of this sort ask for spectacular measures in the circles of pain so that their vision may be dilated. For us, however, who accept the grace of divine revelation, such measures are rendered useless. Consciousness itself grows in us irrevocable edges. We are the fruit of our sowing. We make mistakes and succeed, learning, correcting, and improving always, until the conquest of the supreme balance. Do not, therefore, attach yourself to the destructive shadows of remorse or complaint. Who has passed unscathed on the precipices of human passions but the beloved Master and our Lord? What apprentice will have achieved all the teachings at once? Calm your heart and focus your hopes on the blessed days of the future. Death, for all of us who have not reached the highest standards of humanity, is a blessed pause in which it is possible to open ourselves to prosperity in the noblest principles. We will treasure here, to distribute later, blessings of immortal life in the dark spheres of reincarnation. Let us now breathe the harmony and the peace from which we have been snatched, in order to lead its sublime banner among the companions who, still bound to the flesh, sleep in the darkness of discord and illusion. We are cells of militant humanity in search of redeeming humanity, inheritors of many centuries of carnal experience. It is impracticable. The definitive ascension from one day to another is impracticable. It is indispensable to plan the good and to realize it, to sow happiness and to harvest it at the cost of personal labor in sweat and sacrifice. Turn the thought to the dew of good cheer. Do not dwell on empty afflictions. We will return to the school of application in the distant flesh. and it's necessary now to amass new energies for the indispensable recapitulations.
Okay. Okay. So thank you, Mark, so much. Yeah, it is intense. But you know, the first important thing here for us is to see how natural it is. How natural. They are talking, friend to friend, heart to heart. And you see, the higher you are, the closer you are to people. Bittencourt Sampaio didn't come to talk like a king. Oh, you, everybody. He's saying, Brother Jacob, he's saying here, you did well. See, heart to heart, like Jesus. You did well announcing your own faults in this fraternal gathering. Infinite wisdom sets up courts to judge those who do not know it. So he says, for us, we're talking about awakening. He clearly states, the voluntary death demands noisy phenomena in the field of atonement, so they can develop acoustics. The blind person of the sort asks for spectacular measures in the circles of pain, so that their vision may be dilated. For us, however, who accept the grace of divine revelation, such measures are rendered useless. Consciousness itself grows in us irrevocable edges. We are the fruit of our sowing. And even though he's saying this, we say, how many spiritists I know will say, yeah, we have to suffer. No, the spiritist message doesn't say this, that we have to. It says that we may, but once we awake, we don't need to, unless we're not awake. Okay? So, just to clarify here, hello Sarita, hello my friend Animercia, and says, Teresa Castro is kindly asking, who is this high order spirit talking? Bittencourt Sampaio. Bittencourt Sampaio was a lawyer, a politician, a poet, a thinker in Brazil. He became a spiritist, so devoted that at one point, with other friends, he founded the Brazilian Spiritist Federation and created these efforts to make sure that people would have support, unity, to keep cherishing the Spiritist teachings. He was really a loving heart, and he elevated, he ascended to higher levels. And here, he's telling, we who know, who accept the grace of this divine revelation, the measures of atonement, like enforced or suffering, the one that we search for to pay for the wrongdoings, does not work for us. We need to awake. We are the fruit of our sowing. But Vanias, I made a mistake. Big deal. Who hasn't? Now it's like Paul of Tarsus. What am I going to do next? Right? Suffering is optional because suffering depends on perception. You know, as a neuroscientist of pain, studying pain in the brain, what happens is this. A stimulus comes and touches and stimulates the nerve. Let's say I'm doing this to my hand. And then the communication goes to my brain, the spinal cord, and then the brain. The higher cortical areas are decoding in the sense of like how detrimental it may be. Is it pleasurable? Is not different qualities? Affection? Is it the cognitive component of it? There are at least 3: sensory, cognitive, and affection. Related to pain. The bottom line is, pain is not what you think it is is what you create. You can perceive that stimulus differently. So my perception of it is subjective. Oh, Vanessa, is this hurting? No. But if I do this in a baby, it may hurt. Because the way he's going to decode it is not pleasant. Different sensibility. And that's why somebody may be living in a remote location and have no shoes and is happy. For them, it's not painful. But then we're here, we don't have a new car, and it's killing us. So I have control over the interpretation of the stimulus. There is an input. How do I decode it? Is up to us. That's why Jeziel saw his father dying. Of course he was crushed. But he wasn't desperate. Why? Because the way he decoded that stimulus, a very aversive stimulus, for him, he knew that life goes on, that God is above all. He loved God above all things. He didn't go crazy. He actually surrendered to God. He never became depressed like Mother Mary. The way they decoded, because of the grace of the divine revelation, made them feel that stimulus not as painful stimulus, but as a blessing, as a saving grace. Like Jeziel quoting the Old Testament, God is trusting us. Otherwise, God would not allow us to go through. God wants us to do something here. We may not know what it is, but God knows. We need to practice it every day. God knows. Right, Sarita? Like the monks, not the monkeys. They might get trained, they control pain and other things by meditating. Exactly. Geraldinho, 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 we're waiting for you. Okay, now we're 10. We're a little older in the center of Virginia. We're waiting for you, my friend. We look forward to having you here. Tia Hebe, beijo pra senhora. You know, suffering is a choice. That's why in the Gospel According to Spiritism, chapter 5, the longest chapter, blessed are the afflicted. Well suffering, I need to suffer well, meaning I need to look for the opportunity. Can I recommend you a literature? I'm going to ask Mark to pick it up. Sure. Mark, the book about the problems right here.
Ah, this is fantastic.
Wanna see it?
Yes.
Look at this. I recommend to you whether you are a child or a bigger child. What do you do with a problem? By Kobe Yamada. Okay? I'm gonna tell you. Just teasing you. Here is the boy. Look at the picture. We read at the Spirit Side of Virginia for the anniversary of 10 years. The boy looked at the problem and he said, I don't know how it happened, but one day I had a problem. I didn't want it. I didn't ask for it. I really didn't like having a problem, but it was there. And then, why is it here? What does it want? What do you do with a problem? I thought. I wanted, look at this, I wanted to make it go away. I shoot it. I scolded it. I tried ignoring it, but nothing worked. The problem was still there. And then, oh no, I started to worry about my problem and thought, what if it swallows me? Look at this. What if my problem sneaks up and gets me? Okay. And then What if it takes away all of my things? And then I worried a lot. I worried about what would happen. I worried about what could happen. I worried about this and worried about that. And the more I worried, the bigger my problem became. Whoa. I wished it would just disappear. I tried everything. I could not hide from it. I even found ways to disguise myself, but it still found me. Now here's the little boy. Look at the picture. And the more I avoided the problem, the more I saw it everywhere. I thought about it all the time. I didn't feel good at all. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. This has to stop, I declared. Maybe I was making my problem bigger and scarier than it actually was. After all, my problem hadn't really swallowed me up or attacked me. So then, the little boy who is not Bittencourt Sampaio, I realized that I had to face it. So he's really determined to face it. Where is the problem? He's right there, looking good. So even though I didn't want to, even though I was really afraid, I got ready and I tackled my problem. Look at the boy. He tackled the problem. And when I got face to face with it, look at the picture, the boy looking at the problem. I discovered something. My problem wasn't what I thought it was. I discovered it had something beautiful inside. Okay? My problem held an opportunity. Look at the problem and the boy. He's managing the problem. It was an opportunity for me to learn and to grow, to be brave, to do something. Is it a reincarnation? Yes. And it showed me that it was important to look closely because some opportunities only come once, like this reincarnation, okay? So now I see problems differently. I'm not afraid of them anymore because I know they're secret. Look at the boy. Look at the problem who became beautiful. Every problem has an opportunity for something good. You just have to look for it. Look at the boy, seeking the good. He's seeking the good in the problem. Okay, brother, our dear friend here, Bittencourt Sampaio, is helping us. Okay, Daniel Castellani, how are you? He says, do not therefore attach yourself to the destructive shadows of remorse and complaint, okay? No, don't go there. Yes, these books are fantastic. Who has passed? Who doesn't have problems, he's saying. So, feeling small is not going to help. You are a child of God, Jacob. You are a child of God. Me 2, me 3, me 4, me 5. We reincarnated to really learn to do good. See, to learn and to grow. But we need to seek the good. So, buy a telescope if you feel the good is far away. Buy a microscope if you feel it's too close but you cannot even see it. 2 choices, okay? Or change the lenses, because the good exists. God is in the good. God is good, and if we don't believe in the good, we don't believe in God. No, I believe in God, but no, there's no but, there's just God. God in the good, so seek the good, you find God, done. right? Done. It's indispensable to plan the good and to achieve it, to sow happiness, he's saying, to harvest it. These are words by Bittencourt Sampaio. I will repeat. It's indispensable to plant the good. It's indispensable to make it happen. It's indispensable to sow happiness. It's indispensable to harvest it at the cost of personal labor in sweat and sacrifice. Some spiritist friends tell me, Vanessa, we have to do the works of the good in a balanced way. I said, what do you mean, the good today and not tomorrow? And do good every other day? If we're not doing the good, we're doing evil. No, but we have to relax. Yeah, but relax is something you need to do every day. Not only on vacation. We need to learn to relax being useful. So it's the inner attitude that changes. You don't work helping others, feeling tense. The sacrifice here is of the ego. It's not like sacrifice of ice cream, chocolate. It's sacrifice of our need to feel the center of the world, to be appreciated. Sacrifice like, oh, but people don't say thank you. And we just say, but still, you're welcome. You're welcome. Because God is the one and only. But people don't appreciate me, but God does. But people don't love me, but God does. But people do not encourage me, but God does. But people do not invest on me, but God does. And if God does, you're done. You don't need to worry. But you need to trust. If you have the appreciation of the world, but you don't feel God, it's really the worst case scenario. Okay? So here we have, do not dwell on empty affliction. Oh, but who am I? I'm a bad person. Even Jesus' friend said, I'm not. Oh, you're a good master. He said, no, good. God is good. I am master. So big deal. Oh, I'm not a good person. Who is a good person? I don't know. We are working on the good. To become good. The essence is good. Keep working. We will return to the school of application. We will reincarnate. Oh, Vanessa, I don't want. I do. Because Earth is getting better. We need to apply ourselves. And by the way, have you filled out the application to reincarnate? No, seriously. You have to enroll before the year ends. Before the school year ends, you already have to enroll for the other year. I'm not joking. The book And Life Goes On shows clearly the planning of the reincarnation of a person who still is going to live 20, 30 some more years, and in 50 years from that day is going to reincarnate. And the mentors are already planning. So, as we are speaking here, they are already like doing the chess game. Kindly. Oh, the direction you're taking, we're going to reincarnate in this circle, so we'll continue the work. So some people are going to reincarnate now, and you're going to jump in next. But we need to enroll. And you have free will. So what are we planting today to continue harvesting and planting for tomorrow? Remember the millennial goals? What are your millennial goals? What are my millennial goals? The service will now be deployed, and then he's given the key to work that Brother Jacob always wanted. He's saying they are going to work together. It's always teamwork, right? Always. Exactly, Jacob. Those who care are working on the good, and they thus become good. Right on. Our mental action in the narrow lines of physical existence is simple rehearsal for services that await cooperation after death. You, Jacob, have gained valuable opportunities to serve, given the knowledge you have acquired. And if material affairs ended with the death certificate of the old body, the edifying tasks continue to be active, claiming your dedication. Hands intertwined in the work of good, we shall rest only in the Master, who is following our good will. It is necessary to find peace within ourselves in the battle for the victory of light. Was Brother Jacob crying? Yes. Exactly. He was. And feeling compassion for his unstoppable tears, Bittencourt Sampaio lifted the face of Brother Jacob. More emotional body language. These are not people who are like cold. You, Jacob, you need to love. No. We need to be coherent emotionally. Jacob. And caressing, friendly, fraternal, close. Jesus was like this. Bittencourt Sampaio follows Jesus. He's doing the same. Looking at me kindly. These are details that cannot be put aside. And continued. We regret not having more extensive development in our inner light. You see how he says we? He's saying you, Jacob. You are regretting. He's being charitable. We. However, any discouragement on our part in the saving efforts means an unfounded reaction of our capricious will against the sovereign and just designs from the top. So when people are like, oh, I'm so bad. No, I don't serve a purpose. Actually, we're being rebellious. We want to know more than God. We are punishing ourselves, and we cannot, shall not do this. Let us not pause to examine the enforceability of our resources. Let us expand our resources using the possibilities that Jesus entrusted to us. In the turmoil of reincarnation, we almost always forget the virtues that can be found in the dull, anonymous rails of the valley. Our vision in such circumstances lies concentrated on the summit of the provisional social organization we serve, and the imaginary mountain of earthly honors, crowned, though with respectable advantages, and we expect well-being and pleasure, sagacity and domination, temporary facilities, and fanciful considerations to our less worthy personality, completely forgetting at times the sacred gifts of humble and unknown duties. So that's why he's saying the forgotten virtues of inner illumination. These are the needs. Of all the needs, illuminate ourselves. When we give in to impulsiveness, he says, that holds us in the primitive instincts, we're unconcerned to acquire simplicity and love, patience and renunciation, resignation and hope, which are gifts of eternal life that Heavenly Hero has offered us at the foot of the cross. We're impressed with Jesus, but we ignore the crucified Master. We're impressed with the Savior, but we ignore the crucified Master. It pleases us to dispose, it displeases us to obey. We seek authority, we scorn discipline. We exercise severe examination of the acts of others without any vigilance of our own heart. We understand perfectly the noise and indiscretion of the world which surrounds our lower senses, but we rarely communicate with the sublime Spirit of Christ in our own conscience. We know how to fall fast, but we hardly decide to get up. We adorn ourselves with flowers of one day and lose the fruits of eternity. We are used to ask for the blessings of the eternal, and when we receive them, we go to sleep indefinitely. We fill the earth with brilliant words, forgetful that victory in good is more concrete in those who listen to wise counsel and apply it. It is for this, my friend, that we arrive without a light bulb of our own to the eminences of life, unable to contemplate the sunshine by our deficiency of light. However, the All-Merciful never closes the doors of the lifting service. Here you also find the blessings of the contact in use of which you will light your own lantern for the journey. With all the qualities that sanctify our character, dignify our personality, spiritualize our reasoning, and enlighten our hearts, happiness in the most glorious worlds is impractical. The lamp can be dim and poor. However, if you have balanced and perfect material to tune in with the headquarters of the force, you will produce light and beauty in silence. Let us renew ourselves, thus enhancing our inner possibilities to communicate with the Supreme Giver of life through the invisible threads of love that connect him with the infinite universe. Jacob, let roar the storms of the world. Forget the violent memories of the past. Forget the violent memories of the past. Pause. You may be asking, is this possible? Yes. Neuroscience recently proved that you can forget traumas conditioned to the fact you form new good memories. So seek the good, and the traumas will dissolve in the ocean of the good that you are seeking, feeling, visualizing, and molding. Let roar the storms of the world. Forget the violent memories of the past. Emerge from the old man and walk to the top. Then your bright and pure light will radiate. Let us love the transforming work. Love. Let life owes nothing to the useless. We are branches of the divine vine, and our happiness demands the immortal sap that proceeds from its deep roots. Without the nourishment, this nourishment, we become dry and unproductive branches. Cross courageously this hour of transition. Revive yourself in the Lord and do not faint. Then, as if he finished to subtract us from the idea of ceremonial simplicity, he began to talk to us naturally. He referred to his companions who shared his activities in the sphere of which he found himself, and he engaged in a particular conversation with Guilherme Ribeiro about Spiritism in Brazil, the gospel, and the anguish of the modern world. 4 more entities connected to the fraternal messenger materialized in a harmonious and brilliant figure. They embraced me with affection and sang with the choir a soft hymn dedicated to Jesus. You see, they sing like us. Sing, sing a song. Make it simple to last your whole life long. Yes, friends, sing, 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 sing away. We're joking here, but it's serious. Sing. Around me, the sweet enthusiasm of the good news drew plans for sacred cooperation with Christ. Other songs were heard, moving and beautiful, and when Bittencourt Sampaio, his friend, said goodbye to me, dazzled of joy, I felt that I was at the beginning of an inner revolution with deep consequences for my future. I momentarily lost the sick curiosity that had guided me here. The clarity of others heightened my obscurity. My characteristic uneasiness had centered. Why advance in knowledge with the soul in dark? You see? Jesus said, Nicodemus, it's not enough to know. You forgot to feel. We know about Jesus for more than 2,000 years. And yet we refuse to feel. There are people who are disputing. How many spiritist books have you read? I don't know, I never counted. Should I count now? Do I have to have a log? Oh, but you have to read. Did you study that page? Did you study? No. We're not studying here to become scholars. And even the book Evolution into Worlds by André Luiz is not for scientists. Many people think they are, but it's not. In the preface, he says this book is to bring consolation. It's for the heart. It's for the healing of the soul. Of all things, it's about making our connection with God. But we need to love this work, transformative work. There is no healing without charity. I had been graced by the benevolence of many friends who surrounded me. But in the recesses of my being lays the signs of my maladjustment to the kingdom of the Lord that I aspired to serve. Before extending it to others, it was indispensable to construct it within me. Despite the unforgettable beauty of that night of love, the graces I received confirmed to me at heart the first impressions that I was nothing more than a beggar of light. And why is he saying this? To remind us, oh, I'm a director of a spiritist organization. Oh, I speak to the world and people. I receive messages. People applaud me. Discarnate. And here we are. Can I have some light? Can you give me some light? Beggars of light. This work is in the inner. It's for our regeneration. What people say, it's their problem. What we do and say is our problem. So Bittencourt Sampaio is saying, without this nourishment, we become dry and unproductive branches. That's why we have Kardec Radio to nourish ourselves. Cross courageously this hour of transition. Revive yourself in God. Who is God for you? If God is at the forefront of everything we do, we'll never, ever, ever, ever feel defeated again. Because God knows, leads, cares, is provident, is loving, kind, justice. No wonder the Spirit's book begins talking about God and its creation. Because without that foundation, nothing else. Every problem, Mentor Joseph says, Vanessa, every human problem lies in one foundation. The lack of devotion to God. People who love God, who serve God, who are loving God above all things, have a smile that never stops and a heart that is feeling blessed even when life presents challenges. So this is us. This is us being called by a superior friend, Brother Jacob, in the company of our friends, Carol, Mark, the Spirit of Friends, Mentor Joseph, and others. We're truly grateful, my friends, because today we're very likely more awakened than not. We hope, because that's the goal, self-illumination. Shall we? Yeah? Yes, and you know, the sun shines. Even when it rains, we sing in the rain. And then it forms a rainbow, we sing. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. La 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 la. You and I are invited for the exercise in the next 24 hours. Where is God for you? How is God for you? Where is your love for God? Measure during this day. Can you see and feel God everything ahead of everything you're planning and doing and feeling and thinking? Because the day we achieve that, boom, the problem became an opportunity to learn and to grow, as in the book of children. That's the homework. Find God everywhere in the next 24 hours. God, where are you? Bye-bye. Bye, friends.
Bye, friends.